Hi, my name is Nathan Sutherland with Flint and Iron. At Flint and Iron, we believe three things: that everyone's got potential, little choices matter, and it's never too late to be great. Today, we're going to be talking about a game called Fortnite and the three problems with Fortnite, none of which are violence. The first problem we're going to be talking about is this idea of priorities. When you play a game like Fortnite, it's a short gameplay. It's really cool. You can get in, you can play around in 15 minutes. But the problem is the game isn't actually set up to be played in 15 minutes. So you can go in and play 15 minutes, but you'll probably die in the first 6. So then you want to get back in and you play again. You're like, well, I've still got time. It's 15 minutes. And you're going to make it maybe 8 or 9 minutes. And this is going to repeat, and it's going to keep repeating. And if you make it like 14 and a half minutes and you were the second to last team, there's no way you're going to stop. So you could have said, I'm going to play for an hour, be 40 minutes in. You're 14 and a half minutes. You're right at the perfect amount of time. You've played for almost 55 minutes. You're not going to stop. Because no one would quit with a second place when you've got a dub on the line. So you're going to keep playing, and it's very possible, and maybe even probable, that after playing for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you realize, I'm too far in, I've got to stop, even if I haven't won. And now I'm tired, or now I've pushed this deadline off too much, or now I'll have to finish that tomorrow. And it is built to get us to keep coming back. It's not the only game that does that, but it is a very specific idea that there's a really short gameplay, but because you're building around this idea of getting a win, you're constantly coming back to hone your skills or try a new strategy or work with a new group. And it does keep you coming back for more, and it can mess with our priorities of time and where we're putting our value, which leads us to the second part. A major way we show our value is where we spend our money. And in Fortnite, there's an idea called microtransactions. Now, these don't help you buy better weapons or armor necessarily. What these actually do is they buy often what we call skins, clothes, outfits, silly hats to put on, things that make your character unique and personal. And what's really unique about this is an idea of Fortnite. They've pushed this. They make hundreds of millions of dollars off this idea. And the concern is that we're taking real world money and we're now investing into a character that doesn't actually enhance that character or necessarily our experience. It's more just about making us look good. And I draw this out because there's an idea of paying more for function. So if I buy a $20 pair of shoes versus a $120 pair of shoes, there's probably some function in there. But there comes a point, let's say hypothetically, that there was a shoe that was sold for $1,000. Would you be able to tell me that the value of a $1,000 shoe is that much greater than, say, a $250 pair of shoes? Probably not, right? They're probably not that much better. $250 gets you a really nice shoe. It looks good, it feels good, it's gonna last a long time. $1,000 isn't 4 times better. So then we're buying it for personal rapport, we're buying it for status, we're buying it to make us look good. We're saying, look what I can afford, look at the things that I can do. And we're taking that mindset now into our video games. We're saying not just this character helps me win, this avatar is something I use to participate in this online world, it's now something that defines me. I want the avatar to look cool, so I'm going to spend my real world money, and instead of buying that pair of shoes, I'm going to go drop $20, $40, $60, $150, depending on how rare the skin is and how many of them I want. I'm going to drop a bunch of cash on this avatar so it can look good. And that brings us to our third. So if the first is time, and the second, time or priorities, and the second is investment, the third is really the most concerning, and that's this idea of identifying with our avatars. The idea that my identity is now wrapped up in my online performance and how well I can do. Because in games like Fortnite's just one of the most popular ones that does this, my wins, it's so social, and there's so many people involved, and there's such a community around it that if I get a win, I'm going to post that on social media, right? Solo dub last night, or squad dub. Not many people brag about their squads, but they count the number of wins. It's tracked by the game. We know the best gamers and how many wins they have. We brag about it with our friends. I had students last year that made a giant board in the back of my classroom, the Fortnite bragging board. So they could talk about how many wins they've got and who they beat and how well they did and the fact that maybe they played 60 games and never gotten a win. But it's what they want to talk about. They're identifying themselves with their wins, and they're willing to put their real life money and their real life time into making that experience better for them, because in their friend group, it is cool. People will know them as being good at Fortnite. And I think that is probably our greatest concern, is that idea that, okay, well, if that's true, then I'm valuing myself based on how well I do in a video game now. So one of the best Fortnite gamers in the world right now, his name is Ninja. His name is actually Tyler, but he goes by the gaming tag Ninja. And he had an ESPN interview where he made it very clear that he does not identify himself as his gaming success. He said that Ninja is his product. It's the thing that he goes out and sells, and he works hard at it. He puts in 12 hours a day, he does 6 hours in the morning, he works 6 until midnight in the evenings, and he knows that that is going to be an important part of his business strategy, and that his business strategy is limited. He said it's a few more years at this pace, and then he's going to walk away. He's still going to play, he still likes video games, but the actual identity as a Fortnite gamer is not something that he is drawing out. He said, no, I'm going to retire, I'll be a husband, I'll be Tyler, I'll be a human, and Ninja is just the business product that I produce, and that's very important. We want to make sure that our kids, way more than worrying about the violence in that particular game, make sure that our kids know where their time is, where their investment is, and how they're identifying themselves, because if they start to lose, or if people start to put them down based on their gaming, or if they're not getting the success or the investment that they want in that, then they're going to start to believe that they're worth less because their avatar is struggling, and we want to keep those two separate. Let it stay a game, and that'll be fine. Now, on the violent side, most video games have violence, right? Mario Brothers, you jump on Goombas, and no one calls the Goomba's mom and wants an interview, right? Like, we're okay with a certain amount of some violence, and I would say that if you're okay with things like laser tag, Nerf battles, airsoft, paintball, you're probably going to be okay with the way Fortnite handles their violence. They are using weapons, they are pointing them at real players. There's probably very little concern about those people going out and shooting up some public place because of their experience in Fortnite. I think the main concern with Fortnite is the fact that they're going to misplace their time priorities, misplace their financial investments, and misplace their identity, and now try to value themselves based on how their video game success is. And that's a very concerning spot for our young people. We want to make sure that they know where their identity is, where their purpose is, and how they can continue that. Ninja's got a good handle on that, and I think we can point them to people who are doing that in a healthful way. If you have more questions on this, I actually run a parent workshop specifically for parents of young people talking about raising healthy youth in a tech world. We address 3 questions. The first is, how do I know if my kid's tech use is healthy? Second is, what do I do if it's not? And the third is, how can I support them moving forward? If you're interested in a tech workshop, feel free to email me. It's nathan@flintandiron.org. You can find some more info on the website, www.flintandiron.org. And I would love to be a resource on that. And I hope that this has been helpful for you as you process whether Fortnite or other games are good for your young player to play.